Hi, fashion dolls. It is Wednesday, November 2nd, and welcome to an all new episode of Style by Stevie. Our very special guest today is an actor and award winning writer, and I'm super excited to have him here. You might know him for his hit novel, which is now turned into a masterpiece, War.Angel.The Awakening, and now for Inner Demons, War Angel Inner Demons, and The Furious Seven, which stars the late Paul Walker. We're going to get into some things in this interview today, Fashion Dolls, and I'm super excited for this interview. I celebrated my 29th birthday Monday. It was such an amazing break, and I hope you guys had an awesome Halloween. I know I did. It was a fabulous birthday, and thank you guys so much for your birthday wishes. So without further ado, let's welcome our very special guest, War.Reborn Angel, War Angel. I'm so excited to have him here. All right, fashion dolls, let's get right into it. Yes. Let's send him the live and get him in here so that we can dive right into this interview. Ladies and gentlemen, let me share this live. And tonight also is the panel with K Tukes and Jay Evans, the music panel. We will be reviewing some of our favorite groups as well as gospel groups and artists and a number of things. So make sure you guys tune in tonight at 6:30 here on the gram. So without further ado, we're waiting on our very special guest to get here. I feel refreshed, I feel rejuvenated, I feel awesome, and I hope you guys do too as well. So I hope everyone had a safe Halloween. I know I had an amazing birthday. I celebrated my 29th birthday Monday, and it was fabulous. And I gave you guys two sickening looks. So in case you guys missed it, it's up. So make sure you guys go and check that out. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome one of the sexiest African American men in the world. Actor, award-winning writer, War.Angel.Reborn, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, hello.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm doing excellent. Welcome to the dollhouse. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm just over here getting things ready, moving forward, and just taking care of a lot of work that I have to do. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful yourself. It's great to be back.
Yeah, yes. I'm just finding myself getting back to myself. War Angel Reborn once again.
Yes. So before we kick off this interview, an amazing conversation with you, how has 2022 been for you thus far? Like we're halfway out of a quarter of this month, and we'll get to that question at the end, which is what are some of your resolutions for the new year? But how has 2022, if you could wrap it up in a couple of words, how would you describe your 2022 so far?
2022 has been all I can say. It's been amazing. I 2022, as my friends would say, doesn't owe me anything.
Yes.
It's been a lot that's happened, and I've done a lot this year.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's excellent to hear to keep grinding because there's been so many shutdowns as a writer and actor, and if you're in the New York area, it's been so many shutdowns and reopening backups. And so far, we're getting back to some normalcy. If you guys read between the lines, you get what I'm saying. So, yeah, it's been a lot.
But
So,
it's been a saving grace for me because of the shutdowns. It's allowed me to do a lot of things I wanted to do. So I've made it work for me in the best way possible.
yes, you have. And I can tell from your Instagram, you are a writer, you're an actor, award winning writer and actor, 10-time award winning actor. So let's dive right into it. Where did this passion for the acting bug come from? And how did the world get such an interesting name? Because I've never heard a name like yours. Like, where did the name WAR, War Reborn, come from?
Actually, the name itself was a realization of myself, a
Mm,
reflection, I should say. You know, a lot of times, as I tell a lot of people, I sit down personally. I practice what I preach. I'll sit down and I'll just kind of reflect on a lot of things I've been through, a lot of things I'm in the process of going through, and I just kind of meditate on things. And I just realized after, a lot of people keep telling me that I'm an angel after helping them, and I started reflecting on so many things. Angels are not just these soft, delicate, these beings that are just easily destroyed. From a lot of these images that we see of them, a lot of people, for some reason, think that they're just delicate, and they don't realize that they're actually warriors on the front line. So that
Yeah,
was one of the things that came to me, and just realizing that I'm an angel to help these people, but I'm not just an angel watching and just hoping that things go right. I'm actually fighting. So I was like, okay, I'm a warrior. And at the same time, I realized I have a connection with the phoenix. And one thing I love about the phoenix is no matter how many times that it's burned, it always revives. It's always reborn. So as a warrior, as an angel, no matter how many times I get burned by the people that I try to help, the people that I love that sometimes I think love me and don't, no matter how many times I get burned or burned out, I'm going to always be reborn.
I love that. I love that. And we all have I tell people this all the time. They're like, you change so much. You change your look. You change everything about yourself so much. I'm like, I'm in a period of being rebirthed again, reborn again, recreating myself, reinventing myself. And I always believe in reinventing myself. I never like to stay the same. Look wise, aesthetically, fashion, beauty, all of that, so much more. I try to give that, and that also enhances my personality as well. So my personality will stay the same, but my looks will always change. I don't like to stay in one box. I'm not a one trick pony. So I tell people that all the time. There's nothing wrong with being reborn again. So beautiful name, beautiful explanation. So
Thank
tell us,
you.
how did you get your start into the acting business and as a writer? Because you did two award-winning masterpieces. Let's get into it. War Angel, The Awakening, and War Angel, Inner Demon. So before we get to that, tell us how you got your start into the business.
It was so funny how I actually got into the actual industry of Hollywood. It was something I've always wanted to do. As a kid, I kind of shunned away from it because I grew up Pentecostal, and I had so many people in the church that told me that I could not pursue acting because I was supposed to be a pastor, and they told me that to pursue acting meant that I would be living a lie because actors lie, they pretend. There was so many things that was embedded into me as a child that kind of stirred me away from acting. So I became the class clown, yes, but I just didn't try to pursue acting. Plus, my mom was raising 4 or 5 kids by herself, so I decided to start working at a very early age and just focus on that and pretty much sacrifice a lot of things I wanted to do, like gymnastics and a lot of other things to get into the acting world. And just focus on regular 9 to 5 stuff because that's a lot of other things that was, kind of beaten into me that I had to do. When I moved to Atlanta, I was born and raised in Daytona Beach, Florida, and I just woke up one day and said, I got to get out of here. Plus, God gave me an opportunity to leave. So that's what I did. And I pursued my career as a model because I did start pursuing modeling in Daytona Beach. And one day I was in a fashion show, and the young lady who put the show together said, they are looking for people for this TV show called Drop Dead Diva. Are you interested in working? I said, I would love to. I had already done a lot of stage plays in the church and things like that, so I felt like I was ready for actual TV. She said, and they're paying. I said, oh, I actually get money this time. So that was something else that excited me. And I got to set. They said, yeah, we don't want you to be this. We want you to be a featured bailiff. And we also want you to do this. So it was like they saw me and I guess they felt my energy. And next thing I know, they started offering me to do more than what I was supposed to do as opposed to just be a number in the background. And then the people that were working on set started asking me, are you available tomorrow? We have another show we're filming. We have a movie in Macon called 42 that we're working on. Do you want to work with us on that? And it just fell into my lap and fell into my world. And I just continued to do it ever since because I loved it so much. I love it so much, I should say.
And you've mentioned 42. You've worked with two amazing actors, bless their soul. You worked with Paul Walker and the late Paul Walker in Furious 7 and 42. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever 2 is coming out. We already know where we're going. Chadwick, the late Chadwick Boseman. I hate that we're saying that. So, from working on 42, what was your experience like working with the late Chadwick Boseman?
it was so amazing because while we were on set, they were telling us that that was his first breakout role. It was
Mm,
also a lot of things because I got a chance to kind of talk to him for a quick second. And it was just so amazing because I felt the connection. And I think that's why his death hit me so hard because I
mm,
was like,
yeah.
this is your first breakout role. This is my first movie. And there's so many things that we're connecting with right now. And I just told him I wish him the best. And I've been supporting ever since. And it was just an amazing moment. Also, the premise of the movie, it was based on the life of Jackie Robinson. So I grew up in Daytona Beach, Florida. We have a Jackie Robinson Stadium. So it was so many things that I connected with that project. And whew, as I think about it, it's just, it's just so surreal to me how God allowed what I wanted to do and was pushed away from to just kind of, it was like he was refilling and bringing back everything that was taken from me. And an overflow was happening. It was just an amazing moment working on that project.
And it's so funny you talk about that, just being fulfilled in the beginning. It goes back to what we said in the interview. We never knew what he went through, but again, it's that process of being reborn. When God called him home, it was him being reborn in the process. So he's reborn, a new body and everything, and he's looking down, and the next generation of actors and writers that are looking up to him, that he's inspired, and lives that he's touched. It's beautiful to know. And he's from my hometown, South Carolina. So it's so crazy. Yes, it's so crazy. Now, Furious 7 had an ensemble cast. Let's go down the list here. You worked with Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Vin Diesel, Cody Walker, Paul Walker, Nathalie Emmanuel, Jason Statham. You've had Brewster, excuse me. What was it like working on this franchise, which is a big franchise, Fast and Furious, Furious 7? What was that like?
That was another amazing thing. It was like I said, it's just to watch the process of all of this being put together. It was just amazing because I was crew. I was a stand-in, and it allowed me to just see things from behind the scenes, all the gunfire, the explosions. It was just so amazing to watch how they turned this film studio or just a set into this action movie. It was just, and then to actually, kind of talk with these people a little bit. It really is amazing because you hope that when you get a chance to meet these people that they would acknowledge you. And then when you do, and they actually acknowledge you and don't kind of snub you off and push you off and
Yeah.
kind of treat you like you're nothing, it makes you feel fulfilled. And it was so amazing.
What is some of the best advice that some of the cast from Furious 7, as well as the late Chadwick, I hate saying that. What is some of the best pieces of advice that they've given you?
Well, I would say one of the best things that they've told me was to just remember that it is my dream and don't expect everyone else to have the same momentum as I have or the same drive that I have in pursuing my dream because they won't understand it until you actually achieve it.
Absolutely. Following your dreams and achieving your passions, as well as so much more. Now, let's talk about your projects, your award winning projects. You're also an author as well. You've written some amazing books. Let's go through the first one, War Angel, The Awakening, and then War Angel, Inner Demons, Secrets Revealed. Tell us a little bit about your projects and where did you get the inspiration from?
Well, actually, War Angel, The Awakening, I self published the book and I published it on Amazon. Um, this was actually inspired to me inspired this I was inspired to start writing, I should say, after working on this movie called Bessie. I got a chance and I worked the entire project, and then when we wrapped, the director came to me and she asked me, are you a writer? I said no. She said, you're very, very serious about and very passionate about becoming an actor, I can tell. I said, yes, I am. She said, well, I don't do this, but I can't push away this feeling to come and talk to you. Something is telling me to tell you to write. I said, okay, well, I'm not a writer. She said, well, I don't know. I'm just hearing this voice to tell me to tell you this. So I just started, again, reflecting on someone, a director, the director for the full featured film Bessie with Queen Latifah, walking up to me and giving me this information and this advice. And I said, okay, this was God speaking to her, and she couldn't shake God off. So I better take this to heart. And I tried so many different ways to start writing. And then I started remembering what she said about wanting to be an actor. So I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do then. Because I've gotten a lot of messages from people on Facebook telling me that as I'm sharing my life experiences that I can write a book about it. Let me just write a book about it, but write it in the form of a script, which made it so much easier to get the story out. Then I simply converted it back into a book, self-published it, and then I shared my story. This is
Wow.
based on my life and my journey. And I started realizing it was helping so many other people who were going through the same things, or sometimes even worse, or not as bad. And they needed to hear a story of someone else dealing with something else to give them inspiration and passion to push through.
Your niece is here. She says, "Hey, Uncle Matt, looking good." And we have Michael Jonah here, ladies and gentlemen. We did an interview together, me and Michael, back in 2021, and I was so nervous. Yes, Michael says, "Love you, Matthew." And shout outs to my girl, Alexandria Monet, who is also here. Shout outs to her. We got so many actors, actresses, and a few famous faces in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you guys add them. How does it feel to know your journey? These people that have been with you since day one are still rocking with you, still sitting with you, and supporting you 100%. Because for me, a very key thing in getting into this business is having a solid support circle around you, family and friends. How important is that for you?
That is so, so important. I've actually reached to some of my friends and the ones who've been supporting me since I started modeling. And I started modeling in the adult field, and they've been sticking with me until when I let that go, because my mom was like, "Do you have to model like this?" So I said, "You know what? Let me pursue something a little different, a little bit more in the fashion world." And they've been sticking with me and supporting me since I was 19 years old. So I want to say I really thank them for believing in me. And when I was in a fashion show, they didn't care how much it cost. They used to always make sure they bought a ticket. Even if they couldn't come, they would just buy a ticket to show support. And it means so much to have that, because in this industry, depression is something very severe and serious. And when you're feeling alone, and I tell people a lot of times, because sometimes people say, "Why didn't you call me and tell me you needed, to, help or anything?" It's kind of hard to call and scream for help when you're drowning. So it's so important. And so, I mean, I'm just so thankful for people who do reach out and say, "I just want to call you and check on you and make sure you're okay." Because when you're in that moment of depression, the last thing you're thinking about is calling somebody. And having that support system is so important, so they can call you, check on you, and make sure you're standing strong, because a lot of times the strong people do need people to check on them.
Now, I'm so glad that you touched on that because I've been talking about mental health all throughout the week on this platform. And it's been with Black men mainly. And I set my lineup for all Black men because it's such a taboo topic, whereas for women, it's easier for us to talk about it, even though there's trauma and so many things behind the scenes. But we're starting to see more and more Black men and Black people as a collective openly talk about mental health because it is not easy. And I told someone this just yesterday, excuse me. Um, I said, healing is ugly. It's a process. Healing is ugly and it is a process. It's a journey. So being able to open up and talk to people and be transparent is a beautiful thing. We can't continue to sweep our mental health up under the rug and just disregard it. Your niece says, keep up the wonderful work and keep your blessing and energy flow through your loved one.
Yes. I love her so much. She's been one of the main ones who always just like to call and check on me and just make sure I'm okay. I would say pretty much the whole family. She checks on everybody. I love her. I love her to life. And I want, going back to the book, writing the book was very therapeutic for me. And that's another thing I tell her, and I was telling other people. I found writing, even if it's not something you want to share, it gets those emotions out, and it really helps dealing with depression, mental illness. It really helps with a lot. And I know a lot of people have told me that they're not strong enough to share their stories. So that's
Yeah.
another reason I went ahead and shared mine. But I also made it inclusive. So there are pages where it's a note to self, where I allow them to write a note to themselves or just a message if they can relate to what happened in that particular chapter of the story, or how much they've read so far, to get those emotions out, to get the feelings out, and to connect with the story so it can hopefully help to heal them. Because that was the whole purpose of me writing this story, to help heal people. And God forbid, it's my time to leave. I still leave something behind to help heal the world.
And I'm so glad that you touched on that because life can be taken from you in an instant. And I'm just going to talk about the big elephant in the room here. We lost a rapper by the name of Takeoff. And it's so unfortunate how we lost him. And it's just like, is this what the world is really coming to? This man was 28 years old. I just turned 29 Monday. So we would have both been in the same age range. I'm like, this is scary. And for me as a black woman, this could have been me. This could have been anybody that this has happened to. So life is so short. So cherish those little moments while people are still here because you never know. It could be too late, too soon. And those were my thoughts on that because I know people were waiting on me to kind of speak out about it. It's bittersweet, it's heartbreaking because this man really didn't do anything to my knowledge except just do his music career and was one of the less quiet ones. Wasn't always in the media, wasn't always in the outlet, and he lost his life. And that's so unfortunate. So my heart goes to the family and any other families out here who's lost someone to violence in any form. Um, it's very tough. It is upsetting to the family. I know it's got to be traumatizing to the family. So my heart goes to the family as well as his roommates, Offset as well as Quavo. So that's my thoughts on that. I'm glad you touched on that because life is very very short, and it can be taken from you in an instant. It's no matter where you're at. You could be going to get coffee. You could be going to do anything. And I ask myself, is this what the world is coming to? Like, we don't need all of this violence. We need to increase the peace and we need to love on one another while we're here.
And that's something else I've been kind of just reflecting on these last few days, because especially here in New York City, the violence has gotten so crazy. Little kids are out on the street just having fun and they get hit by a bullet and their
Yeah,
life is gone. And it's been so crazy and sad. 7 years old, get hit by bullets just because they are at the playground and people are just, you know, so I'm doing the best that I can on so many different levels. Doing I'm asking myself, what can I do physically? Doing what I can spiritually, and also trying to help people emotionally and mentally because there's just so many things happening, and I'm just wanting to do as much as I can, which is another reason why I'm hoping that what God has led me to with creating what I'm creating will allow me to touch on all of those things, mind, body, and soul, so I can do my part to help heal this world and try to help make it a better place from what's going on right now because it's crazy.
absolutely. And it's not easy. Healing is a process. And with your novels that you've written, again, that process of being reborn again and getting in tune with self, finding that outlet. And I tell people this all the time here on this platform. I tell people find an outlet. I love to write also myself as well. So find something that brings you peace, that brings you joy. And for me, what brings me peace and joy is writing. I love to write. It's in a way, like you said, it's very therapeutic. You put all of your thoughts out on paper. Singers, musicians, writers, authors. There's so much to come. And your niece says the doors are open and more blessing is heading your way.
I love her so much. Yeah, she was sharing both of my books. I know one time when I was visiting in Florida, I want to say it was the last time I brought the last book that I wrote, Inner Demons, And I want to say she gave it to one of the guys who I went to school with, and I think it helped him to actually conquer some of his inner demons. And she was telling me how he got a job and how he was just doing his best to be his best self. Because I know a lot of people, they think they know me, and then they started reading a lot of things that I wrote that I've been through, and it's like, whoa, and you're still smiling? How? So I said, well, let's talk about it. And also this is why I believe what I believe in. Also, too, it's a lot of things to understand. A lot of things happen for me may happen differently for you because we may believe different things. I believe in God. If you don't believe in God, it's going to be a different formula for you, but we can still find a formula that works for you. And she just, she was one of my biggest cheerleaders, just telling everybody and wearing a shirt. My uncle wrote a book, he made a movie, and she was sharing the YouTube video with everybody. And, it's just, she makes me smile, and I'm very, very grateful for her.
And it's always your family that is there supporting you from beginning, day in and day out, believing in your project, believing in this. We get up in this industry because this business is very, very scary. And
Yeah.
it's so funny because my guest Friday is the legendary Jackie McGee. She wrote Salt and Pepper's Expression, and she sung with Keith Sweat. She did a song about how the industry is, and we're going to talk about that Friday. But I will just give you a foreshadowing on what the song is about. It's talking about the entertainment business and how people will literally sell their souls to get in this business. It's like you become so alienated and lose yourself and the ones who've helped you get where you need to be by just at what cost? Well, at what cost is fame? Is the question. So she wrote a whole song about it, and she did a beautiful music video on it. So she's gonna be here Friday. And yeah, what for you as an actor and as a writer, this business, you know how it is. What advice would you give to the next generation of actors and writers?
I was gonna, kind of touch on that about selling your soul, because I've had people, ask me, will I sell my soul? I said, well, I can't sell my soul because I can give my soul to God. So I'm sorry, it ain't gonna happen for me. It won't work. That's something we highlight in this particular story about trying to sell my soul to the devil, or he tried to convince me or trick me, but it just didn't work. But it's just so many things. So you're going to have those moments when people are going to try to get you to sell your soul or sell yourself, sell your body. And you have to ask yourself, are you looking for a quick route, or are you looking for the best route? So for me, it's so many things that I could have done, like selling my story. I could have sold, after I wrote the script, I could have sold it to Hollywood because they asked me to sell it. But I knew they were going to change the narrative. Instead of it being about an African-American boy dealing with HIV, dealing with spirituality, dealing with acceptance, it was going to be changed to a Caucasian boy, just because they were going to find a way to make the money. I'm not focused on making the money. My focus is making the change.
Yes.
As far as the money will come. I'll get the money eventually, but that's not my focus. My focus is making a change, making a difference. So as you're pursuing your career, as you're pursuing your dreams, don't focus on what's so hard and let that be a negative. Understand that what you're dealing with and what you're going through is actually going to make your story a lot stronger. What you're dealing with and what you're going through is going to help you have material. It's going to help you have something to talk about. The singers who sing their best songs the songs are based on their hardest times in life, and they put emotion into that, the emotions that they were feeling into that. So it becomes a hit song because it's based on real life. So whatever you're pursuing, allow those trials and tribulations to be your ammunition. It's not easy. It's easier said than done, but it can be done. And you have to stay true to yourself and understand that it's going to be hard, but it will be worth it.
And not become so alienated and lose who you are. Remain humble and stay true to you.
And I'll say this as well, because we talk about family. One thing I had to understand and realize, family are those who actually believe in you, walk with you, stand with you. You don't have to be related by blood to be family. You just simply need to be connected and supported. Because those who are related by blood and think they're family don't understand that they're just relatives when they don't support you. You can create your family from strangers, from fans. You can create your family from anybody, and let them let them be your family, and don't be so quick to push them off.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Staying grounded, remembering who you are, and
Yeah.
never getting so far in this distance where it's just like, I'm better than everybody. No, you got to have the mindset of just remaining humble. So,
Yeah.
my next question for you is, what skills or what are the essential qualities that make a good writer, that make a good actor? Because there's so many people that want to get into this business, but it's just like with what I love the most is these programs and scholarships and grants that at historically black colleges and universities for the arts, and they're just like, some of them are being cut, and it's just like, but these are keeping the community of the youth out of trouble and so many other things. What advice would you give to up and coming actors on the qualities that would make them a good writer or a good actor?
To be good at anything, you have to be teachable.
Yes,
You have to be teachable. It doesn't matter how much you know. When you come in and you feel like no one can tell you anything, you have this air about you that you know it all, and it's going to be very hard to be anything in life, or even be welcomed. But in order to pursue acting, I just tell people, be teachable. You know, be flexible, and understand that there's going to be a shift and a change. Also, be consistent, be passionate, and also know that's what you want. uh, don't say, okay, well, I'm gonna try it out, because if you're just trying it out, this ain't the food court where you could just go and try one, and then go to the next counter. It has to be something that that you really want, because pursuing anything in life is going to take hard work, dedication, and a lot of effort. Even
absolutely.
if it's writing, if it's I've had people say, I want to write, but I don't know what to write about. Only thing I can say on that is, if you don't know what to write about, are you sure you want to be a writer? Because normally, if you are a writer, you see something and you can't stop taking notes. Or if you don't know how to get started, just simply find what it is that you feel is really important, that you feel like the world should know, and just start writing. Don't try to come down and figure out what's going to be what chapter. Just write your information down. You can categorize it later. Just write it down. Once you get enough information written down, then break it up into chapters. Then find your title and move forward from there.
And the audience is agreeing. Shout outs to Chrissy. Hey, Chrissy. Perfect saying about family. Family and friends are a welcoming of love. And Nate says, you're hitting right at home with the words. And shout outs to my girl, Rage. Rage is in here. She is saying, this is what I needed. She is an amazing hairstylist. So definitely go and check out my girl, Rage. Hey, girl. She says, you just have to start. And
Yes.
someone said that you have to take a leap. Sometimes you have to take a leap. It can be scary. I've had to change things up and do things in a different direction, but I'm thankful for that, because look where I'm at now. I see the growth, I see the progression, I see so many things coming into fruition when you have to change things and put them into perspective the way you do it. So, yeah, it can
Yeah.
be scary, but trust me, just leap, just go, just do it.
And she's right about that. Just start, because it's going to change up so many times. I'm not going to say fail, but you're going to fall a lot. You're not going to fail until you give up. That's the only time you fail. So you will fall, but don't be afraid to fall. But yeah, you definitely just have to start. Start writing. Like I said, I didn't know how to write when the director came to me. I'm like, I I want to say I was like, okay, I'll write the book like this, and I was like, this sounds boring. So I bought that up and went and got a notepad from Dollar Tree, and I started writing again. Next thing I know, I had about 100 and something pages, and I said, okay, I think I better start typing this because my hand is starting to cramp.
See, that inspiration, you pull it from just the inanimate places. And it's just like, wow, I didn't know I had all of this inside of me. I didn't really want to do it, but look at me now. All of my thoughts, all of this is just flowing on the paper and going perfectly. Let me see what Rage and everybody is talking about. She says it's just lessons. We learn, we grow. Yes, and you have to change the narrative, change things a little bit differently, your way. Because as you spoke about it, when you pitch a story to Hollywood and certain things, they try to put it in their light. And I tell people this all the time. When they come on this platform, I allow them to tell their story. Nobody can tell your story better than you. You are in charge of your story. You are in charge of your narrative. You do it your way. You tell people what you want them to know. And if you don't, be like myself and keep it private. But I try to be as transparent and transparencies. So try to be as transparent with people as possible as you can. So,
I would say that's what really pushed me to write and to be a filmmaker because I'm one of those people. It's like I get tired of wanting change. I get tired of begging for people to bring change. I
yeah,
came to a realization, especially after hearing Martin Luther King and a few other people speak. It's like, if you really want change, you have to be the change. If it's that important to you, what's stopping you from being that element that's missing? It's going to be hard, but you have to ask yourself, are you willing to put yourself on the front line? And I started asking myself, am I willing? And I said, you know what? You've already been doing it. You were attacked by over 100 people at a college because you were defending somebody who was LGBTQ, and they thought they killed you because they attacked you with such a force. But God was with you. So I would have to say that gave me a little bit more courage, realizing, understanding that despite what these people said about me, about God not loving me, God was protecting me. Him and the angels that he sent down to protect me. So since he sent this protection for me, I better use it. And also use my voice and use whatever gifts he's given me to make and be the change that is needed in this world, in my community, in so many different ways. And that's what I did. And I said, you know what? If I have to bear the brunt of people being attacked, I will carry that. I will be that warrior to fight for these people, stand on that front line, and do what I need to do and be the voice so they can heal and understand that they do have what people have been telling them that they don't. And that is love. And that is the acceptance. And that is life. And that is all.
absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So my next question for you is, what skills have you learned throughout your writing career that have helped you throughout your writing career? What has helped you throughout the process?
I don't know where to start with that. I've learned so many things. Google is my best friend. I would research something. It's like, what I've learned is to, most important is keeping it real. Just keep it real and just allow diversity. And also do my best to include everything that I've learned about different people. And understanding that by me sharing this relationship and friendship that I've created with people from different beliefs and different walks of life, and showing that we can still have unity, that has been one of the major lessons I've learned to share, so other people can understand that it's okay. It's okay to have a different perspective on certain things and still coexist together. It's okay. They don't have to be a Christian to be my friend, and I just need to understand them and respect them, and they understand me and respect me on a certain level. So I've learned so many different techniques as far as, like, I don't have to depend on drugs to motivate me and to keep me going. So many different things I've learned. Google, YouTube. I've been teaching like so many resources out there that you don't have to pay for in order to get things done. So I've learned that there's no excuses. If it's something you really want to do, there's so many free resources out there to get what you need to move forward, from starting a business to writing to whatever it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're going to take some questions from the audience, Fashion Dolls. If you guys have any questions, feel free to type it in the bubble or you can type it in the comment section. While we're waiting on everyone to type their questions, we're going to get into some games with War here, Fashion Dolls. And the first one is called the Rapid Five. War has to tell us 5 things that he can't live without. And it can be through life, your writing, it can be your favorite football team, your favorite drink, favorite food. And then the next one is going to be called his thoughts. So we're going to go through a list of just a few of his co-stars that he's worked alongside with, and he has to give us one word that describes them. All right, Fashion Dolls. So while you guys are typing your comments, we're going to start off with the rapid five. What are 5 things that War can't live without?
Okay. Well, one, off rip, God. I cannot live without God.
All the time.
So that's one thing for me. Passion. Can't live without that. It drives me. If we talk about tangible things, my PlayStation.
Okay.
I don't have to have cable, but I can have my PlayStation. I don't need cable to do that. And that also kind of helps me to break away from the world from time to time. Friends, true friends. True friends that understand, reach out, love unconditionally. And with that being said, love, unconditional love.
Definitely need this in this business, 100%. And we got a question from my girl, Rage. She wants to know, what advice can you give to someone who is passionate but stagnant in their career?
One thing I would say is that hold on to that passion. Because although you are stagnant, by you holding on to that passion and loving yourself, when that moment happens, it's going to come in like a whirlwind. And you're going to be just overflowing with so many ideas, techniques, and just your creative juices are going to just explode. And because you held on to that passion and didn't give up, everything that you thought you were missing out on is going to catch up to you. That's what happened to me. And I can guarantee what happened for you.
Chrissy wants to know, what do you look for in a partner?
In a partner, like business-wise, what kind of partner?
She says, I'm crying right now. And she says, thank you. Also, shout outs to Devon. Hey, Devon was also a writer and director as well, too. He's going to be on the show in next year, 2023. So, yes, we have some great shows lined up for season 17. So make sure you guys tune in for that. Let's see. Any other questions?
Now, the partner, I would say, if what I'm looking for in a partner when it comes to relationship, what I would say I found anyway, is someone who listens, someone who is full of positive energy, who is a positive energy source, I should say, because there are a lot of chaotic things happening in my life that have happened in my life. And the last thing I need is crazy drama or a relationship that's like an Atlanta Housewives episode. I don't desire that. So I look for someone who's understanding, who's faithful, who's truthful, who's loyal, and who's loving. I look for those things in a partner.
All right. All right. Any other questions while we're doing question hour fashion dolls? And then we're going to go to his thoughts where, again, in case you guys missed it, War has to give us one word that describes each and every one of his co-stars. We're going to pick a few, and he has to give us one word that describes some of his co-stars that he's worked alongside. And who can communicate without arguing. That's what Devon adds on to it as well.
Yes, because if we're talking about the relationship thing again,
Yeah.
yes, because I would like to communicate. I mean, I can understand with frustration maybe there, but we can't argue all the time when we're trying to communicate because that's discord. That's an unyoked relationship, and I need to have somebody that I'm equally yoked with that can help me to elevate, that I can help them to elevate, because I believe in elevating each other and pushing each other, supporting each other, and being there for each other, not arguing and tearing them down. We've done enough of that. Too much of that is already happening in the community, and we don't need that when we come home, because home is supposed to be sanctuary. Home is supposed to be sanctuary where we can debuff, de-stress. We shouldn't come home to more stress. So yeah, we can't be doing the argument.
A safe haven where, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do it in a manner where it's calm. The conversation should be immaculate between both of us on both ends. All right, fashion dolls. Any last questions? Devin says facts because we argue and fight at the end of the day. All end of it all, we better have French toast and makeup.
And that's the key.
That's right. All right, fashion dolls. You guys can keep typing your questions. We're gonna move on to the next game, and then I'm gonna take some more of you guys' questions. All right. So the next game is called His Thoughts, and our guest here today, War, has to give us one thought on some of his co-stars that he's worked alongside. So we're gonna mix it up here and shuffle it up here, and we're gonna start with Chadwick. What is one word that you would use to describe Chadwick Boseman?
Ooh, humble.
Yeah. All right. The next is Jason Statham. Jason Statham.
Hold on, wait. Which one was Jason?
Furious 7.
I don't even really remember Jason. As far as his energy, I'm trying to remember what his energy was like. Because a lot of them, their energy was just so exciting and explosive. I think he was one of those who was just fun. One word I can say, fun.
The late Paul Walker. What's one word you would use to describe it?
Oh, meticulous.
Vin Diesel. What is one word you would use to describe him?
Oh my gosh. Mogul, because he was all over the place. He was doing everything. Yes, I would have to say he's a mogul.
And last but certainly not least, the beautiful Michelle Rodriguez. What would you describe her as?
Classic.
All right, fashion dolls. And just from seeing the film, because we've seen her in Girl Fight and so many other projects, and this one here, to see her outside of the Fast and Furious, you see a gentler side of her because she's such a powerhouse woman, and I can relate to that too with that whole boss woman mentality, and so can my girl age because we both see each other here, where it's like we're powerful women and we got to be like the tigeress type, where it's just like, okay, I want to be just like I want to breathe today. I don't want to have to be this powerhouse goddess of a woman today. So yeah, I can relate to
But
that.
it's crazy because it's like when how they are on the TV shows, but it's like when they have that moment just to actually see their true self, you see the yin and the yang between all of that. And you're like, wow, so this is who you really are. I had that same experience when I met Gabrielle Union. I was like, are you sure? This is who this? Whoa, this is a complete different experience from what I thought I was gonna have. Just such a pleasure to be around.
I so can relate to it because when I did my interview with Vanessa, I thought that she was gonna be like this, honey, I'm the diva today, but it's the complete different thing. I met her and she was so down to earth. And one person I would really love to interview is Taraji P. Henson. And I feel like we would have an awesome time seeing her on behind the scenes blooper reels. I've interviewed an actor that has worked with her. And he said she came in and she was just like, bedroom shoes and all. She wasn't glammed up or nothing. She was just her down to earth self. She is just so much fun. So yeah, it's always that, what is the best for you as a creative, as an actor? What are some of the biggest misconceptions that people have about actors, that they don't have a life? Like I watched an interview with Viola Davis and she's always playing the woman king, of course. She's always playing these powerful women in these like dramedies. You don't really see her in comedy really or romance, but you see her in these powerful movies that have a meaning to them. And just watching her interviews, she's so energetic and full of life and laughter. So, what are some of the biggest misconceptions that people have about actors?
A lot of when people see an actor doing a role, for some reason they see that actor as that person in that
Yeah,
role, and they kind of forget to actually understand that that's just a role. So it's a lot of misconceptions typecasted. If you do certain roles, try to when you can do variety because even when it comes, especially when it comes to women, I do my best to stand up for them a lot because, especially black women, they get labeled as angry black women just because they speak their mind or speak their voice, and they're not angry. I've come to get to know a lot of these people. Like, no, they're not like that. Where did that come from? I got a chance to meet them. They were so sweet. They know what they want. And you can't try to make them accept something or mistreat them if they know they don't deserve to be mistreated. They're not angry, they're not mad, they just want you to give them the respect they want. So a lot of misconceptions, a lot of people see actors in a certain role and they'll just lock them into that personality for some reason. I don't know why we do that, but we do have a tendency of doing that.
and for you as a black man, I'm so glad that you touched on it. The reason why I kind of did my eyes like that was because people have tried to label me as the angry black woman here on this platform because I'm passionate and because I speak up for LGBT people in my community, LGBT people and black women more than anything, and of course, just some black men as a collective, um, standing up for what's right, being too vocal. That's why people have labeled me as difficult or angry, or you don't want to seem bitter. So, yeah, I can relate to that, and I've kind of touched on that when I did my women's panel back last month. We talked about it on the panel where it's, oh, she speaks up, she's vocal, she's an angry black woman. So I'm so glad that you touched on that.
Pleasure, my pleasure. Because it's like when you ask certain questions, it's weird because people they act as though you're not allowed to ask certain questions, which you are entitled to, especially if you want clarity. And there's nothing wrong with asking questions. You know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do we have any more questions, fashion dolls? Now I asked some questions for myself or War because this is such a powerful conversation. And I hope you guys all are taking something from this. If you're looking to get into this business, the acting business, because there's so many classes, there's so many schools. Ever since the pandemic happened, it's so crazy that things are opening back up now. And what we could have been doing virtually, we're doing it creatively. People have come up with ways creatively to get their projects out there, their masterpieces, whether it's on Broadway or wherever they need it to be. People have come up with ways to market their films or whatever. There's so many black film directors and creators out here and the next generation and coming forth and so on. So many film festivals and projects. So take the time to do your research. Take the time. If you want to get into the industry, there's people out here that can help you 100%. And that's why I give my platform Style by Stevie to so many black people. Like, well, you want to interview me? Because the biggest misconception that I get is that all I interview is just famous people. And I'm just like, no, I give everybody that is black, that is doing something unapologetically creative, a space where they can speak and promote their projects authentically. You're only labeled difficult when you ask questions that challenge them. And that has happened in my Island Yankee. My fraternal can definitely vouch for that and has seen it firsthand in real time. So, yeah, I've been gaslit and dismissed about my experiences or speaking on experience of LGBT people or black women. They just dismiss it. So, yeah, gonna continue to speak up for what's right, and we have to. Never allow somebody to silence the truth in your story. Never, because there's so much that can be told.
And that's what I've done. I mean, like I said, I was afraid because I probably when I wrote this book, the first one that I wrote, and I asked God, I said, okay, God, there's a lot of things I never shared with people, and do you really want me to share my story with the world? Like, is this what you're really guiding me to do?
Yeah,
And not even a minute passed when a breaking story came across with the news channel that so happened to be on, saying how a 12-year-old kid, black boy, committed suicide because he was being bullied for being gay. I said, okay, yeah, I got to share it. Because although I wasn't really bullied for being gay, I came out to myself at 12 years old. 12 years old was when I went to the river to pray to God and begged him to take the gay away from me, to take this attraction of men away from me. And when he spoke to me and said, what are you asking me for? No, that's not going to happen. Um, I love you. You're listening to people who told you I don't love you. Did I say that? No, that's not what I said. I said I love you all. So I want you to know that I love you, and I need you to love yourself. And it was so much I got out of that conversation with him that I said, okay, I got to share this story. And it's not for me to make people believe in God, but I just want them to understand why I do. Because there's so many situations that should have, according to statistics, should have killed me. But I'm still here. So I'm here for a reason, which means I need to speak up and also find a way to help people who want it instead of forcing them to listen to me. Give them the opportunity for those who want to listen and allow them to conquer their inner demons so they can do what they need to do, even if it's just living a life of joy, of peace and prosperity. Sometimes that's all you need to do. Other people watching you do that, they want to know how can they live a life of peace and prosperity. So they're going to be following you just because you're happy. So, or joyful. I don't like to say really happy because happy is temporary, joy is eternal. And yeah, conquer those demons.
love who you are, and you are perfect. There's no mistakes. Ladies and gentlemen, we have award-winning actress L. Morgan Lee. I absolutely love this woman, and she's been very vocal, speaking out as a woman that is also in the LGBTQ plus community. It's just amazing to have your peers come through and celebrate and pour into you and pour into each other. And
Thank
let me
you.
see what my fraternal says. When they can't silence you, they'll malign you enough until you get blackballed. And that happens to, yeah, it happens to us in this industry. Say that again for the class in the back. Come one and prosperity, divine and rage both said that. So shout outs to them as well. Do we have Any more questions, Fashion Dolls? This is such a great conversation, and I'm glad that you guys are all engaged in it right now because this can be helpful to anybody, again, that's looking to get into this business. Again, stay true to who you are and never lose sight of that. Remain humble. Again, I say it all the time. Your personality should stay the same. Remain who you are and never allow somebody to change you and how you tell your story. And I tell people all the time, tell your story your way. I can't, when people come on my platform, I don't allow, I don't make them tell their story. No, it's up to them. They tell it their way. So, we all have different stories. Ray says she needed some motivation today and it helped her.
I'm so glad. I'm so grateful, and that's one thing I'm very excited to know that as I continue to share my story, I even tell people, if you have a story but you're afraid to share it, share mine in its place. And just say, this guy was dealing with this. This guy was, what do you think about it? And just kind of pique their interest to see if this is somebody you can feel that you can confide in. If you need to use my story, do that. That's another reason why I share it, because I don't want you to put yourself out there to be hurt. I'm putting myself out there for you if you allow me to. So if it can help you by sharing the information or the content, just to see how people think or to get their perspective of what you're dealing with, if it's the same thing I'm dealing with and you want to use my situation, please do that. Please do that. And I'm hoping that you'll see some of these people like I saw who I thought were going to cast me out, because when I moved to Atlanta, I kind of distanced myself away from everybody because I felt like once they found out about my HIV diagnosis, they're not going to want to talk to me. They're not going to want to be around me. I felt like I couldn't pursue acting and modeling because I was like, nobody's going to want to be in a scene with me. Nobody's going to want to sit next to me. So I kind of distanced myself from people until people started saying, okay, you crazy? Yeah, we're going to do this scene. And then when I told my family, instead of them pushing me away, they embraced me. But of course, I prepared myself for the worst and hoped for the best. And I'm hoping by me sharing my story that it can allow other people to prepare themselves for the worst, but expect the best and receive the best. And even if it's not from them, I want you to please know that there is somebody who loves you. There is somebody who's going to embrace you. That's why I said strangers can become family. And I'm hoping you allow that.
Absolutely. And we have a question from Devon. He wants to know, what advice would you give to a beginning filmmaker?
A beginning filmmaker, I'm still, to be honest with you, I feel like I'm still in the beginning stages of filmmaking. I would say if you are a beginning filmmaker, position yourself to do it all. Get a decent camera that can do whatever needs to be done. I went and got myself a DSLR, 4K DSLR. And I got all the attachments. I have a rig. I have everything. I went and purchased everything that I'm gonna need if I have to be the cameraman, the slater, teaching myself and reading up about every position and preparing to do every position. And don't be mad when people say they can't do it. So if you're a beginning filmmaker, just know there is a lot. Google is your best friend. Again, Google is your best friend. Just do your best to research and read about the shot lists. You can find that for free online to put together the shot list. I would say make sure you create like a shot list before you start filming. Do your script first, do a shot list, and do a quick little storyboard, even if it's like stick figures. Just know what you want to shoot before you start shooting, because it's going to make shooting a lot easier and go a lot faster. And as far as filmmaking, you don't have to do rehearsals until the day. You don't have to have everybody come practice, because when you actually start filming, it's different from theater. It's not going to go how you did it 3-4 weeks ago.
Completely different. And he also says, you're always welcome on his future set when he gets his studio. And Google and YouTube are his two best friends.
Perfect. So yes, just make sure you have a nice camera, DSLR, there's nothing wrong with shooting that. We can even shoot with cell phones, as you probably already know.
Oh
Just
yeah.
make sure your lighting is good. Make sure you have the proper things. If you're going to use a cell phone, have the, 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 the stands, have everything you need based on what type of equipment you're using, and just make sure you have that and have a good cast. For me, when I because I'm an independent filmmaker and new to it, I need to make sure that their energy and that their purpose is right for being on set. Because if you have the wrong people, it can mess up your whole project. So I always ask people, why do you want to be a part of this project? And I let them tell me and determine from that whether or not they need to be a part of what's happening. And also, as you're probably already discovering, don't be afraid to let people know what you're doing and welcome them to be a part of the crew, because you'll get a lot of support, especially if your story or what you're filming has a purpose. You'll get a lot of support from people that just want to help put it together.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, Marcos Lewis from the One Night Mic Show. Make sure you guys please go and check out his amazing platform on YouTube. Check it out. He says, "Oh, I never really thought about asking them why they want to be a part of the film." So definitely think about it. Think about it.
Yeah,
Ask that question.
that's how I got so amazing people, because when I cast and I brought those people on board, when I tell you, when we were filming and they connected, they had never met each other a day in their life, but when they came in, because the reason of them being there, wanting to be there, it allowed them to just connect. And the energy, people are going to feel the energy from people in your project. And yeah, it's I definitely pray that things work out, and let me know how I can help. Please connect with me on Insta. There's so much information. We'll be here all day. There's so much I want to share with you. Mandy, so many different platforms I want to make sure you're connected with as a beginner that can really help you resource wise, that you don't have to pay for. So yeah, please connect with me on Instagram.
Any other questions, Fashion Dolls? Any other questions? This is such a phenomenal conversation, and it was such an honor to speak with you. So I'm going to let you close out with the final thoughts while we're waiting on everyone to type your questions in before we conclude. What is one thing that you want people to take away from this amazing conversation? Because we talked about mental health, we talked about your upbringing, growing up Pentecostal and walking, breathing, and existing and living in your truth, which is something I kind of touched on today. If you guys follow my stories, if you know, you know. So Devon, yes, that too. So what platforms can people check out your projects where they can follow you and support?
Well, basically, Instagram and Facebook. I haven't really been posting on Facebook since my whole hiatus and filming everything in Atlanta, because it burned me out with everything, because I had to self fund. I pretty much everything that had to be done. It came out of my pocket, and I sacrificed, as we said in the South, from the rooter to the tutor. I
Yes.
sacrificed. But I'm definitely on Instagram, Facebook. Connect with me there, ask questions, reach out to me. I'm definitely here for you. War.Angel.Reborn on both platforms. Um, oh, what's my question for you? And you said the thought.
Yes, the final thought of the day. What is some encouraging words you want to? Because you've been dropping gems throughout the whole conversation, and people love it. You've got my girl Rage in here tearing up, and so many others. I'm sorry I missed this convo. I'll check out the replay on Style by Stevie YouTube channel. Yes, head on over and subscribe to Style by Stevie Daytime Talk Show on YouTube, and you can check out some of my past interviews. You can check out some of the amazing conversations